Good evening, welcome to the May 26th meeting of the Waterboro Board of Selectmen. If you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Announcements for those of you that are interested this evening at 7 at the middle school is the SAD 57 first step in the budget approval. And I believe that would get started promptly at 7, although I haven't heard anything other than that. And I want to remind everybody to keep recycling. And if you go to the town website, David has on the front page the link to the video, and you can look at what single stream recycling is, which includes everything that we traditionally have been recycling and now put into one bin. So if you have the opportunity, would suggest that you take a look at that. Any other announcements on the board?
Actually, Dennis, I have. I'd just like to thank those involved. Anyways, I would assume the cemetery committee had a part in it, but for the holiday placing flags out on veterans' graves, and I believe it's very important and the least we can do. And there's a lot of effort, from what I understand, going into it. They went through quite a few flags this year, and thanks to everybody involved in that for making it meaningful for those families.
Good.
I just want to, sometimes when I go to new places in town, that I'd like to make a comment that I was up at Raven Hill Farm this weekend, up on Ospey Hill Road. I want to tell you, they have some darn fine bread and muffins up there, and some great, they roast their own coffee, beautiful spot. And I would say to people in town, when you have people visiting you from out of state for this summer, and you want to go up for a cup of coffee in the morning and sit out in the apple orchard and have a muffin, it's a really neat place for people to see some of the beauty of this town.
I understand they're organic orchards as well.
Yeah, they are.
They have some very friendly pet/farm animals.
Watch out for the chickens when you go into the yard. No, it's my husband's home away from home. In the winter, it's Dunkin' Donuts. As soon as they open, it's iced coffee every day.
Yeah, I've been nice little loft up top there.
Yeah, iced coffee every
Take a
day.
seat down.
Steve's a sweetheart. He's great. And call ahead if you want ciabatta bread, people, because they usually run out within the first hour, just so you know.
Anything else? All right, let's move on. 6 o'clock, we have a meeting with the Water District trustees, talk about the contract, or supplement to the contract. I think one of the things that we did when we looked at budgeting this year is certainly we looked at, I know you guys last year made a big move to take the administrative functions, other than a handful of pieces, kind of under the district's wing. This is kind of a continuation of that. Certainly, you still need office space, and you still need the
Secretary?
election type stuff, all right? But I think beyond that, it's really up to the district to do whatever you got to do, right? And I think you've got provisions already in place to do that, but so I
If
think
we're agreeable to that, there's only one, we feel, small thing that we'd like to allow to still happen with Pam, and that's if someone comes in to register their car and wants to come over and give her money for a water district bill, that she be allowed to take a minute or two to accept that. And it's only once a quarter that people do that. I probably shouldn't say it that way, but we bill quarterly, so that's the only thing that we feel that we would like to happen if possible. The rest of it, she'll be doing no more computer work or any of that type of thing at her desk here. She'll be doing all of that in her office at home. And I don't believe there are a lot of people that come in, but there are some people that try to do a double thing, I guess, and take care of that. If that would be possible, that would really help us there.
I would think with the transition and everything, people, the few that are used to going to CAM to pay it, shouldn't be a real big deal for them to.
Yeah, I guess the key is if somebody comes in here to say, hey, here's my payment, that we not say,
Yeah,
oh,
I
I
probably
can't,
shouldn't
go
be
away,
saying I
take
can't
that.
take it right now.
I mean, I don't see that as an issue, or I'm not sure that we need to define that. If somebody comes in and hands you a payment, they hand you a
I mean,
payment.
yeah, it's probably 12 times a year. If that.
So, I mean,
We can always redefine it. and
you have 24
it's a
minutes in a
problem.
year,
Yeah.
something like that, so what?
Well, I'm not sure we want to clutter anything up with that. I mean,
Otherwise
certainly,
than that,
yeah.
we're very happy with
So,
it.
I mean, you've seen this, that
Yes.
kind of talks about the dollar for rent a year, which is fairly significant.
I was thinking $2.
Yeah.
We had to squeeze.
We have a precedence of a dollar, though. We do rent other properties for a dollar.
They're lucky to have that nice office for $1 a
Yeah,
year,
that is
too. I
nice.
mean, that's,
So, the elections, so that's going to be actual costs, any recounts, and I think you only had that, you've had it in spades last year, right? Ballots are actual cost, and then half the cost of the ballot clerk, moderator during the day that they run the election, right? And register voters, I think is the only other thing. So, if you're amenable to that, I guess we are, from what we've got.
Okay, we're fine with that.
And we've got this later to vote on and act on and sign.
Okay, when you make your vote and get the official contract, just pass it on to Cam, and we have a meeting next Monday? Next Monday night?
Okay. All right.
We'll send out all of that.
Any questions or comments for us? Good. Thank you. When's the new wellhead coming on?
Very soon. They're starting the pump station, supposed to start it within 10 days of last week, so it'll be, in the next week, they'll be starting out there, and that's the final step, other than the watershed area.
You had some, did they say on the website there was an issue with water color because of fire, or the fire the other day, is that? It was just a notice.
Did we get any calls, Pam?
No, what I did was when we had the fire and they were pumping from the hydrant, I jumped right over to David and had him put a little notice on that just in case there was any discoloration, it was
Good deal.
because,
So that was just a
and
kind of
it
an
helped, I
alert.
didn't get one phone call.
Was it about that?
No, I
You
didn't
had
get a
one
single
phone
one.
call, you said, oh, yeah.
No, I didn't get a single one.
According to our charts, and this is figuring just on the daily average, they only used about 8,000 gallons of water.
Okay.
It worked out.
There was some stuff in that garage, I understand, it was kind of nasty.
Oh, I never
Hadn't been around
hadn't
since
heard
then?
that.
Okay.
They weren't chemicals left over from yesteryear, were they?
I don't know. That was my first question when somebody said that, but, all right. Anything else? Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. Moving on, hearing a delegation. Reports, town administrator's report. Nancy's on vacation today. Selectmen's reports. Nothing?
Dennis, the only thing that we had discussed a little bit previously to the meeting was the sex offender ordinance in
Yep.
town. And I'd like to send out another letter clarifying perhaps an objection to the committees. They're trying to set up a compromise for 650 feet, which would basically make any ordinance worthless. And I'd like to clarify that to our representatives at the state level, as well as to the committee, that that's our stance on it, and that a compromise would, basically deem that ordinance worthless, because I understand there's some efforts right now to change that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's really a statement of what, is it 650 or 750?
6 rang a bell, but I might be off a little bit on that.
750.
750?
We have today, what, 2,500 and 1,000 in the ordinance. And this would restrict to 750, and I think I had a discussion with Representative Wagner that 750 in this municipality doesn't do really anything. I can understand if you're in Portland density or something, maybe 750 is problematic, but, so yeah,
I think I spoke with John Courtney earlier, and I said, what's the most effective way? He said outlining it in a letter. He did receive our previous letter, but outlining it in a letter to the committee, as well as our representatives, make our stance known. Over 90% of the voters in Waterboro voted for it, and that's the stance.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And I think,
pretty clear.
again, to say where the real problem is their definition of sex offender. They need to have the differential definitions there. So that's, but I mean, when you have someone like we had here in town, you don't want them,
Does this also, and this is MA's version of this, but does this also change the definition from, this is Class A, B, and C, right? Said that restrictions would apply, would apply to sex offenders convicted of a felony offense, Class A, B, or C, against a child under the age of 14.
Yeah, so it's basically the same. They haven't recategorized anybody either. But I think that one of the big issues is home rule. We do have a right here to regulate what happens in our community. And the state seems to be, stepping in on that more and more. Secondly, the committee has taken up, they believe it may be unconstitutional that Waterboro or other communities have a sex offender ordinance to control where sex offenders live. If that were the case, we wouldn't have a registry in this state, because the same argument they would use for the ordinance would be used for the registry. And we have a ton of other things that they can be looking into at the state level. I believe it's just an effort by a few people to do it. But I think we should let them know how our voters have decided and how those voters will decide the next time they go to the polls.
yeah, and the court decides what's unconstitutional. It's not the
Exactly.
legislature that decides that. That's why there's a
Get
difference.
working on the budgets and the things that are important, I don't understand why they pick this aspect to work on. There's so many other things that can be worked on as far as budgeting, but if they want to fix this, we have a registry that is broken that they could work on, and rehabilitating these people before just throwing them out in the community. There's a few things to work on that would be fairly simple.
Not to drag this out, because I know you guys are in a hurry, but there are so many other laws, like in codes or for the planning board, that the state sets, and we can set a higher or a lesser or whatever. Or we can't go less, but we can go higher. Why is it that we can't continue to do that? Are they making?
Well, again,
laws?
this all started from whatever, it was Representative Haskell of Portland, right? That put this in to eliminate anything. And, or any municipality from having it, and I think that it's kind of bubbled and regurgitated and whatnot, and this compromise was worked up by the committee, and, so, and again, 750-foot radius, or I guess if you took a 700-foot radius around the public school or whatnot in this municipality, that doesn't do anything.
No.
That doesn't include, strike it from the middle school, you don't even get Route 5, and you're lucky if you took in one house on the old outlet.
But basically, it would eliminate the home rule that
Right.
we typically have. It would not allow us to go higher. But, I'd also encourage people to call their representatives in this area. I did speak with John Courtney, and he is not supportive of the 650, what was it, 750 foot from the school, and he's willing to go with what the voters want, but just, to call up your state representative and let them know how you feel about this.
Okay. So you're gonna put something together that...
Yeah,
We'll go
I'll
back
put
to
something together right off.
Anything else on the board? Any committees? You got two hands.
I'm quick. FEMA has just come out with an EMPG for local towns, which means Emergency Management Performance Grants. And what they're stipulating is if we can go back to October and somehow calculate our hours, even though it's a volunteer hour and stipend, and I can write up how much was spent doing EMA work and in-kind hours, that I might be able to get back 50% of my budget. So I just need to know from the selectmen that they don't have a problem with me getting reimbursed 50%, which will go back to the town. And then on go forward, I'll try and do the same thing. I can't imagine you don't care, because for hopefully last year, it could be $1,500. So, not a lot, but anything's better than nothing.
Right,
So it's just, yeah, I'll try and get it back.
okay.
Great.
Good.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Ben. That it? That's,
I'm it, that's it.
Doing an update with you. I've worked with Deputy Sanborn, our local deputy here. It's been fantastic. We've gotten a radar speed trailer from him. We've had it out on 10 different roads so far. Have not gotten a word when we have to return it, so I'm continuing the process. We're getting traffic counts out of it, which is really useful to us, and I'm getting a warm welcome from the community at the roads that it's being placed on. We've also started working with Dave on the town website. So if anybody out there wants to check the town website, our 2008 rolling into 9 findings where our RSMS came from is now posted on there. We're working on getting the West Road put on there. We've gone through the entire West Road. And as I get this traffic count information on all the local roads, hopefully I can post that on there and people can look their roads up to see what the traffic count is on there.
good.
Next week, I've placed on, for the agenda, a road that's on our questionable road list that I feel that we can clear up pretty easily. It just hasn't been updated in many years. It's Chadbourne Ridge Road. We have old numbers listed on that road of roughly 2,263 feet. It's actually being measured out at 15,530 feet. So there's a huge discrepancy there. And that is not including the abandoned section in the middle. So what I'm going to be asking for next week is to approve the new measurements from 117 into where they're stopping plowing, also from 5 up until it turns to the dirt end where they're stopping plowing, and then official ruling on abandonment in the middle. It is listed on everything that it is abandoned, but there's no official ruling on it.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
That'll be it.
you want a spot on the agenda? Is that
Yes, I
correct?
just talked to Pam about it and
Okay.
gave her a copy.
All right.
That's it. Any questions?
No, I saw the link on the website, nice pictures in there, and I think everybody can, they tell the story pretty quickly, I think, when
Yes.
people start looking.
Approve our ditch.
Yeah.
I just have one thing, I don't know if you mentioned it, I just got here. The school budget meeting is tonight at 7?
Yes,
So,
yep.
I know you guys are trying to get out here to get to that, but so that everybody else knows to come over.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the follow-up vote is
Next Tuesday.
next Tuesday, and it's here?
No, it's at
Oh,
the middle school.
It's at the middle school,
But it's
okay.
going to be 9 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay. 9 to 8.
Yeah. In the gym.
And people can vote in town now by absentee as well, right?
Not till after tonight.
Not, yeah, after.
Okay.
Once the budget meeting tonight is done, tomorrow, yes. They
But you have
can start
everything
absentee.
set up here to,
Yes, for the school one. They can already get ones for the town
Yeah.
meeting that's on the
well, that's what I
12th.
was,
Right.
So the process is tonight, they will come up with a final number, right?
Yes.
Basically.
It's kind of like town meeting tonight and then a regular referendum
And the
on
referendum is for just that one
It's a
gross
yes/no
number, right?
question.
It's a yes/no, right?
to vote on what they approved at the meeting tonight.
But the amount isn't on the ballot, correct?
No,
Not yet.
it's just a yes/no because it could go up, it could go down. I
Right.
get, well, I don't know if it can go up, but it can
No.
go down.
All right.
Okay?
So tonight, 7 to whenever,
Whenever they're done,
right?
yeah.
Whenever they're done. And next Tuesday, 8 to 9, 9 to 8
Yeah.
at the
In the
middle school.
Yep.
Middle school meeting.
All right.
All right, thanks, Karen. All right, any other committee reports? New business, committee appointments.
I will move to accept Roberta Gallant to the library board.
second.
Any discussion?
This is a...
It's a new one?
It's a rerun,
Oh,
it looks like.
Rerun.
A reappointment?
It was the quickest thing that came to mind. Reappointment.
All those in favor? Opposed? All right. Vote to discuss vote to sign water district contract.
I will move that we sign the water district contract as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Discuss the vote to sign contract for the Animal Welfare Society. This is the annual, this is the West Kennebunk Animal Shelter Agreement. Gone up a bit, not significant. So it starts on July 1st and goes through the end of next year. So it's $7,705.36. Not quite sure where the 36 cents comes from, but it is what it is. I guess they do $1.24 per capita. And they've generously identified us as having only 6,200 people in town.
So, before they change their mind, I will move that we accept this.
Second.
Any discussion? And it's, again, it's on the 2000 census, which is called out there. All those in favor? Opposed? Vote to finalize warrant, vote on recommendations. Really, the finalization is just to add our recommendations to the warrant, and then ultimately prepare it to be signed. Right now, it's got draft all over it, so we can go through this one at a time. We can do, ultimately, we have a affirmative vote from the board on all the budget numbers, so what's your pleasure? We're adding our recommendation to the articles.
Are the Finance Committee recommendations accurate, or are they just
From
keyed
what I
in?
understand, no, they are what they,
Some of them are,
I think about 90% of them were,
My
that were in
only-
here were,
My only concern would be how the questions are worded, so that either recommendation could be voted on. So if the Finance Committee was a greater amount of the board than the Board of Selectmen, that they would be allowed to vote that way. I haven't,
I don't think there's any place.
that the questions be worded in such a way that they could accept either the Selectmen or the Finance Committee recommendations.
But if the Finance Committee recommendation is higher,
Than the
we
Selectmen.
can't, then we'd have to reword the warrant.
We would have to reword the
And
question.
it's moot because there's no place where it is higher. I think the only place where there's a difference of the Finance Committee is in the contact deputy.
Yeah, and that was what I was asking originally.
Well, they've got, so far, there's a no recommendation from them
Yeah.
on the
Well,
contract
I
deputy.
was at the last finance committee
Yeah.
meeting. They thought that the contract deputy was going to be in the same article with, like, your county community action and whatnot. Only because they were going off the budget sheets, they didn't have the actual warrant.
Yep.
So they have a split decision on the contract deputy, 2 are for it, 2 are against it, so that there's no recommendation on the contract deputy, but all of the, your county community action and all of those, they were in favor of passing. Pretty much they were in favor of everything that the selectmen had done, except the contract deputy was a split
Yep.
vote.
Okay, so, which comes out as a no recommendation from them,
Right.
right? So to that point, I guess that the numbers that are in the articles for, which is what we had in the budget recommendations, is what they are. So, how do you want to handle our recommendations? You want to do them one at a time, you want to do a...
No, I'd move that we accept the warrant as written here.
I'll second that.
I had sent some that I think might have been typos to Nancy, but I don't know that she's seen them because I did it on Friday, like on Article 3, it's year ending June 30th, 2008, I think it's supposed to be
Yeah.
2009.
Yeah, yeah.
And there were a couple other typos. Didn't change necessarily the content, just typos.
Well, then, rather than as written, I will say,
Oh, yeah.
That's corrected.
my motion will be,
Okay.
I will move that we accept the content of the
I'll second that.
warrant.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you're going to have to sign it before it gets posted, and any,
So if
I don't want
if
to
it
say
was
it's
as written,
spelling or
then you couldn't change
grammatical
it.
errors, I guess, would be allowed, right? As long as the content
Yeah.
didn't change.
Yeah.
All right, any further discussion?
Well, aside from that, is it necessary to represent which account it's going to come from in the actual article, or could we do that in the recommendation? Because again, that's something that voters at town meeting may want to change. I see some of it comes from miscellaneous fees.
Well, I mean,
some of it comes
traditionally,
from
that's what we've
surplus.
identified, right? Is that
Yeah.
the selectmen's budget is,
But it's also come up as an issue at town meeting. If we were to put it under the recommendation, selectmen recommend that it ought to pass with this much coming from surplus, this much coming from miscellaneous fees. It would in turn do the same thing, but allow voters at town meeting to make up their mind if they didn't want anything to come
move
from
it out
surplus.
of, move it out of
Not
one.
necessarily. If you read the Maine Moderator's Manual for town meeting, let's say that you've got 10,000 coming out of one account, 10,000 coming out of account 2. You can reduce either account, but you cannot raise
Yeah,
either
Right.
account.
you can reduce it, but what I'm saying is, someone
get-
might look at this article right here and see $10,000 coming from surplus. They don't want to touch the surplus account, so they want to make a different recommendation. We both say that it ought to pass. You can't raise the miscellaneous fees line, for instance, but you could take it away from the surplus.
I would
So it
not
takes-
feel good about leaving that up to people.
But a vote on the town meeting floor could say, reduced by X amount, if they get a, right? If they get enough votes, it could be reduced, and that could carry with it that whatever account they want to reduce it out of, right?
You
can't
can
say,
switch
well,
over. But what if I wanted to accept the amount of $584,474 for Article 5, and I'm looking at that and I don't want to take money out of surplus? and instead I want to take it out of a different account.
Again, I would not feel okay about leaving that up to town meeting. I think that's why we're here.
Well,
would have to
we
raise
can
it.
do it, it's not a matter of whether we
But you would-
can.
But you would have to raise it out of another
Yeah,
account.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely, unless you cut another article in the future to compensate for that.
But again, under the Maine Moderator's Manual, there's a specific example of doing that, and you cannot raise appropriations from one account to compensate taking it from another.
Why can't you?
It's in the Maine Moderator's Manual. I don't know
But
what statute it
our
follows.
charter would outline that, and our charter says that, it's how the question's written, we can't necessarily change that with the accounts. We can't vote the amounts up, but we can certainly vote the amounts down. I just think that it gives a little more
Right.
flexibility to voters at town meeting.
I'm going to take Doug's comment. Not a debate, but I'll take a comment.
Evan, the reason you can't change it is the same reason you can't change the results. You can't change the wording of a public hearing, is because you have to vote on what was posted. And you cannot, you cannot change the intent of the article, either under our charter or under Maine state law. So taking monies from different accounts, you can diminish anything that's in here, but you can't increase it. So that's what I wanted to speak to you, ladies and gentlemen, about tonight. I believe that it would be appropriate in Article 5 and in Article 10 to add some additional verbiage that would authorize the Board of Selectmen to use additional funds that might become available. Where you've put the exact amounts in here, you're tied to those amounts. But I believe there are other avenues of revenue that you could tie into this that would save the town the cost of running a special town meeting. And as many people know, special town meetings usually generate people from one side of the article or the other. If you chose to have a land sale this summer, you would have additional income. And although we have an ordinance that governs land sales, one town meeting cannot dictate what another town meeting does. So we could add land sales, and we could add unanticipated state revenues, being the state is now talking about possibly upping the gas tax to go for, toward road maintenance in the state. They might give us more money in the block grant. So, we could add that, and we could also add, if we got any additional money in from registrations. So I think it would be very easy, and you'd be able at that point to, if necessary, increase the hours of individuals at the town hall. By just adding that wording in this article, it would authorize you to expend these funds if they came in by a vote of the Board of Selectmen. And I questioned Article 7. If we are going to cut employment throughout the town from 40 hours to 32 hours, it appears to me that the savings in workers' compensation, unemployment compensation, and Social Security should more than equal $230 by a substantial amount. if you're going to cut over $100,000 out of your payroll, you've definitely miscalculated your savings there. And what do you plan to do with the funds that are going to come in or going to be saved from that? I don't know what your rate is here. Most of your employees are on a probably 2 or 3% category on workers' compensation, but your dump personnel, Fred's employee, and maybe even Parks and Rec, I would think would be at a much higher rate than that. So there is going to be some savings generated there, and I believe it's got to be more than $230, substantially more. I'm not privy to that information.
All I can say is I know that Nancy has gone over this a bunch, okay? And I'm not sure without going through her budget sheet, whether there's, there is some affected rates in here, right? But one would presume, you're right, if you reduce...
Well, you got 7%, you're paying half of, what, 7.9% or something for your
unemployment.
For your
Medicaid
unemployment, for Social
right.
Security.
Yep.
So 7% of $100,000 is $7,000, so you got a $3,500 savings if you cut your budget by $100,000 just in Social Security. So I see that there's a savings there, and I wondered if that was, just a mistake.
Well, I think
hadn't been taken
between
into
the-
consideration.
Yeah, without knowing, okay, looking at those numbers, Doug, workers' compensation insurances and those kind of things I know did go up, okay? Did it go up that much? I'm not positive, but...
Well, in our business, our workers' compensation has gone down, and then so has our insurance policies. In fact, at 4:45 this afternoon, I was on the phone with my insurance agent because our policies run out shortly, and I wanted to know where we were. And we're looking at a very substantial decrease in our total across-the-board insurance, other than health insurance this year. So I just wanted to bring that to your
Yep,
attention,
yep.
that there might be something there. The other thing, in Article 5, this is a substantial discussion going on about land rental. And if the town was to take money in from land rental, you've made no provisions to disperse it. And I would think that, being that was revenue that possibly could come in to the town, it would be appropriate for that to be included for the Board of Selectmen at their discretion to use if it became available. So there are some sources that you could have at your availability if you just reworded the article, because I don't believe, and I'm not 100% sure, I'm not privy to having the advice from council that you are, but I don't believe that we can add that on to the article at town meeting floor.
No.
Do you believe?
I don't think you can.
Can't.
And I think that it would just save calling a special town meeting if we put it in there. I would think that the...
Yeah, I'm not sure that if you had the authority to spend those additional funds, but town meeting votes on a fixed number,
Well, you would add that into the fixed number. You'd say plus fees on all of the, plus
oh, I see what you mean. So the fixed number would be this.
Plus fees.
Unanticipated fees generated, whatever the case may be.
yes.
One of the things, too, what we've done here is in the 11th hour, we've taken more money out of surplus than we wanted to take out. And if we get income coming in there, that might put some of that money back in the surplus.
Well, it might mean you might not have to take it out. There might be funds generated here, and at this point, I don't care whether you're talking the town of Waterboro government, or the state of Maine government, or the York County government, or the federal government, they all seem to be upside down. And Nobody seems to know exactly where they're going. They're voting on a budget in Augusta right now, I think I just heard $530 million less than $5 billion budget. But they're also, like I said, talking about increasing the gas tax, which could generate some funds. And on Article 10, I think, you put a specific number in there. But my concern is the foreclosure rate has dropped very low. House sales are going on. I'm wondering if we're not going to have a code enforcement officer, that some of these houses that have been foreclosed on and have been sitting idle, pipes have been ripped out of them, some of them been vandalized, if we're not going to have some additional work for the code officer to do in going out and actually re-inspecting these places before the finance institutions will put these back on the market again. And if this happens, I believe that the Board of Selectmen is going to have to act to institute a re-inspection policy where we're going to generate funds. And if we generate those funds, and if we have this, then you have no authorization to spend the money. So I think that you could do the same thing in Article 10 by adding verbiage in there that would allow you to expend unanticipated revenues from income of this office. And that would...
I guess you'd have to qualify it as unanticipated income.
Unanticipated.
Right now, we're not anticipating that the revenues are going to be anything more than what we budgeted.
Right, but you see what I'm saying? They could possibly be there. And I think that you're going to have to add to your building code, and I think you should do this fairly quickly. I believe you're going to have to add some wording in there so that we have a building permit fee, but we don't have a fee to go out and re-inspect buildings that I'm aware of, unless you've done it in the last 3 years. We had no fee structure to go out and re-inspect buildings or to pay the code enforcement officer's travel expenses, even if the person who is the code enforcement officer does go out and do these jobs. We don't have any, with the price of gas going back up again, it just appears to me that that's something that would be handy to look at and possibly be added in here. And I think it would be a very minor change, and I think it would benefit the town.
Code
and benefit
enforcement
you.
has never gone out and checked on foreclosed properties in any town that I know of.
But they may have to do that. Do you realize how many houses there are out there right now, Cindy, that have been vandalized?
Oh, I've been in them,
And-
and yet they're selling, but the banks are, well, they're having private inspections, but I've never in any of the towns that we deal with.
Technically, once those pipes are removed from the house, when they're put back in, they're supposed to be re-inspected by the plumbing inspector.
I don't think anybody's ever done it.
Well, maybe it's an opportunity for us to gain a few bucks.
Honestly, Sanford, Biddeford, Standish, Wyndham, I've never heard of, code never goes back out and checks, ever, that I know of.
And we may have some other, and I think in there, there's nothing in here that allows for land sales to be picked up, and there's nothing in here if you do negotiate and come up with some kind of a income out of land rental, that it would be a source of income to be used for, the necessities of the town. If we all believe that you've put together a squeaky tight budget here, there's very little room for error along the way, and I think that any opportunity we have to give ourselves some breathing room with no additional property taxes is an area that we should look at. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
That would also apply to Articles 9 and 13, which are position-based articles where we're taking money out of surplus.
Yep.
So that could actually apply to 4 different articles.
On the other hand, where we are is I think we got it back against the wall as far as the wording of this and getting that, I think, I don't know,
Well, certainly, I mean, it's worth and Nancy can quickly check tomorrow with the legal beagles to find out, you know, the addition of that word. I mean, it's got to be freshened up anyway, right?
We have 13 has plus fees already in it.
Yeah, some of them do.
Yeah, another one that I was questioning was Article 5. I don't think if we cut employees down to 32 hours that any of them will be able to afford retirement this year, and I'm guessing that's in the neighborhood of, $20,000 that the town's matching. That might actually soak up the surplus amount.
Yeah, but you got at least provision for that.
Well, we provision, I mean, that's one of the things that the employees were willing to put out there that we didn't look at.
So how do you want to proceed? You want to move forward with it? I mean, the recommendation probably isn't going to change. We're going to recommend ought to pass. The question is whether or not we want to look at the potentiality of adding some words to this that would allow unanticipated revenues to be applied to that account.
well, there's several ways you can do this. You can accept it as we have it,
Yeah.
and then also instruct Nancy to look into a phrase that would give us some flexibility, as Doug had recommended in a couple of the articles, and we can add it in.
Yep.
So if that doesn't come up, we've done it, and if it does come up that we can do that, we can put it, make an addendum
Okay.
next Tuesday.
You want to add that to your motion? I mean, that we look at some, I'm not sure how we do that. I mean,
Well, I guess what
Moved and
I'd do
seconded.
is go with the motion as is,
Yeah.
and then maybe after that, have a second motion for Nancy to look into this and into adding this on, and that we could make a decision as far as adding it.
We'd have to rescind the
next
first
week.
motion
But
to do that.
So we have it passed,
I think,
and we can add to it if we
yeah, I
wish.
think if someone wants to offer an amendment to do,
I'll second the amendment. John would have to change it.
no, what I'm thinking is that the recommendation of Nancy looking at it, right? We pass that as an amendment to this and then pass the total thing, or you change your motion to include.
Well, I think, I guess my motion would stand as is, and then the minutes of this meeting, we can have a motion that Nancy looks into,
Yeah, and I guess,
addendums on article such and such and article such and such, and she can bring this back as a recommended addendum.
But in a way,
I'm not sure this is going to happen. The thing is that we can go and they might not come up with an acceptable, something that's acceptable to us.
See-
So then we got it done anyway.
Yeah.
But if she does come up with something and the attorney looks at it and says, okay, this is a simple addendum, it's not going to make things complex here. And next Tuesday we say, I move that we add this on article.
Could I just say one thing? I was for the employees getting their 32 hours back, but wouldn't it be wise where we have cut so many budgets right to the core, roads and fire department, to not make that, not put the fees into anything at this point, but wait and see if we do get the extra money for fees, and then look at the whole town again and see if we're actually hurting in another area besides just staffing?
yeah, I think you can certainly do that. I think that the board, if we went through and had the verbiage put on, I think the board has that flexibility on those articles, okay? If not, we always have the flexibility to go back to a special town meeting, with the emphasis on special, because you will get whatever special interest group is interested in, whether it's roads, whether it's employees, or whatever the case may be, of working that special town meeting. So
I think, I mean, there are some other creative ways of doing it, obviously.
Right.
I mean, this year we have a full-time planner.
Right.
Last year we had a part-time, so.
We've
I mean,
always
there
had
are
a
ways
full-time
to-
planner. We've
Well,
never
we
had a
funded
part-time.
we funded for part-time in the past, Tammy
We
Jo.
had a full-time planner, but the funding came from two different
Funding
accounts.
came from the year before.
Yeah. Well, it's
So, you know,
creative.
the
Pam had a
planner was
question over
was
there.
the same as it is this year.
Yeah, if I could just ask you not drag this out another week.
Right.
We have a time frame. We're
That's
trying to
why
get
I'm
this
trying
into
to look
the-
at, how do we do this without,
Trying to get this into the,
Right.
into the town report. I'm running out of time.
so I think, to John's point, you know, we've got a motion and a second on the floor to accept the content of this. I think we got to go through with that.
I'll accept the content of this.
Huh?
I have no problem with accepting the content.
Right,
So that's what we're voting on now, right?
right.
Yeah, and, I mean, Doug came up with a point here that that needs to be thought about, but we also thought about, if we have income coming in, that we would probably, we have a couple of areas, such as adding to roads, adding to employees, that we may, depending on the amount of money that comes in, rather than letting it sit in surplus. So we're probably looking at, if we get a piece of money coming in, we're probably looking at a special town meeting anyway.
That's what I,
And the biggest,
Yeah,
the
and
biggest
so-
piece of this could very well be the FEMA money coming back,
Yeah.
which we anticipate, but certainly didn't budget for. Okay. So, that being said, we have a motion on the content here, seconded. Any discussion, further discussion on that?
So just, I guess with all the discussion, I've gotten lost on what the motion actually is.
The same as it was, and that is to
Right.
accept this,
Doesn't change.
not as written, but the content of it as
That's
is.
correct.
And if, as corrected, okay? Anything else? All those in favor? Opposed?
And then I would make a motion that we have Nancy explore wording on Articles 5, 9, 10, and 13 that would allow the selectmen to expend funds from land rentals, sales, unanticipated state funds for the use as necessary, as deemed necessary by the selectmen.
then I'd want to add Article 20 to that, which would be roads. I want to add Article, let's see,
I'm just
Can it-
looking at the articles that pertain to
Okay.
employment, and I think it's important to have that as necessary language in there.
Well, we got to, first of all, we got to determine legally if that's
Right.
appropriate,
Yeah.
right?
And then, I think, then the discussion next Tuesday would be as to which articles. One, are we going to put it in any articles, and then, so
Or
which
gi-
articles?
Or given the time frame, if we
Yeah.
get a positive response back, I don't have a problem of calling a special meeting of this board, right,
Yeah,
to act on that new information, and we could do that like on Thursday night, given enough, right? And then just say, okay, what are those articles that we want to add that phrase to, right?
So
So,
we have enough time, Pam?
Yeah, I just don't want to wait till
Right.
next Tuesday to finalize this.
so the thing is we're going to need to see if it can be done, what the phrasing will be, then we need to have the time to debate it.
are you all fine with that? If
Yep.
Well,
we
as long
get
as
an-
we're not waiting till next Tuesday.
No, I
I'm
agree.
fine
So we
with
get
that.
an answer, we get an answer tomorrow, and then we'll
Yeah,
react
as long
to
as
that.
we react to the
Yep,
answer, yeah.
okay. Anything else? Old business, none. Other, vote to sign bills and warrants and bills of payroll.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Vote to sign minutes of 5:19.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Abstaining. I wasn't here.
Discussion of agenda articles, we've got the road thing, Pam. We had some other things, right, teed up?
Oh, yeah, we're going to need to vote to reschedule the public hearing on the solid waste ordinance.
Yeah, I mean, we've got more info. Willis was in talking to Kevin and the committee. Kevin is adamant that he wants everything, and we got some more work to do. So we're a ways away from us signing anything that Eco Maine wants at
So
this
do we
point.
want to just, at this point, let it just...
Well, we have a meeting Monday night with the committee, so we'll have an answer for Tuesday night. So let's at least put the ordinance on as an old business item and then we'll go from there. Anything else?
Yeah, I'd also like to see, I don't even think we need to take a vote on it, but the Selectmen's workspace that's online,
Yeah.
I'd like to have everything that's non-confidential, of course, anything legal on there be made public so that we can view it on the website. Any resident could view the correspondence that comes in
Review
to
what?
the Selectmen.
The packets that are out there, the workspace, on, when you go
Our
on,
online packets.
when you go on the packets, the weekly packets that she posts out on the website. I don't see any reason other than if it's
Yeah.
confidential or
Yeah,
illegal
if it's a
nature,
contractual
then-
or...
Well, but usually if it's confidential, I don't put it in that packet. And
Right.
Yeah.
You get it Tuesday night and it's a...
So that's easy to just scan that in, I trust.
Yeah,
It's
I
already
think we
scanned
can,
It's already in, it's just a matter of who it's open to, right?
yeah. So if we had it on the website listed as meeting minutes or agenda and then a packet, underneath it, the Selectmen's packet.
What's in that workspace, David, that people can't get to? Everything that's in there?
Yeah, because it's your access to email and calendar with passwords and stuff
Okay.
like that. So.
But we could have the packet that the Selectmen would receive as a PDF that we can post on the public domain as well, right?
Sure. I mean, if you want to review, if you
Yeah.
want the archives available, because you may want somebody just to review
Yeah.
those.
Well, I would be concerned about that in case there is something confidential that's gotten through, that you'd have to
So let's-
review
let's do
every
this.
packet
Let's
first.
do this, let's put it on for next week.
Yeah.
And just, everybody take a look at it and look at what, there's no real reason that it shouldn't be public, right?
Yeah.
And we'll just, there's the calendar and that, yeah, they don't have access to put something on the calendar, right?
Well, I maintain like 3 different
Yeah,
calendars
yeah.
anyway. One that's just yours, meetings that you need to attend. There's one that is public.
Yep.
I think we kind of got into putting vacations on that calendar last year.
Yeah, I think Nancy does that.
Let's
I know a couple
let's
times
just
I've-
take a look at it and we'll bring it up next week. Anything else? All right, reminders, items needing signature, warrants and bills for payroll, minutes of 5/19, appointment papers, Animal Welfare Society contract, Water District contract, concealed weapons applications. Reminders, planning board tomorrow night here at 7:30, land trust 7 p.m. at
That's
the town.
actually at Doug's house tomorrow night at 6 p.m.
Doug's house at 6. All right. Noon luncheon Thursday for seniors luncheon at the Snowmobile Club. Library trustees at the library 7 p.m. Thursday. Monday, the Water District trustees at the Town Hall 6 p.m. Transfer Station Recycling Committee Town Hall 6 p.m. Next Tuesday, SAD 57 vote 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Massapequa Middle School. Selectmen's meeting starting at 6 p.m. here at the Town Hall Annex.
And tonight, we're moving on to the vote, right?
And, say again?
Tonight, we are moving on to the vote
Oh,
over
yeah.
at the
Yes, over to the...
middle school, and we encourage participation from people who want to change the school budget.
See you over there.
Yeah, and just a note on the senior luncheons, the first senior luncheon in June has been canceled. Flooring's going in at the Snowmobile Club, new floor, so they're not going to have a place to have their lunch.
And no cribbage tournament this Saturday?
Summer. They're all out
I
on
didn't entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is the candidates night on or no?
That's next Thursday night, right?
Next Thursday night.
That is confirmed, okay.
And it's been posted and everybody can,
Did we get Bob to moderate it?
I'm not had a chance to talk to Carrie because she's been out.
Okay?
Motion.
Motion. Somebody second?
Second.
All in
Ties
favor?
for lack of second.
Yeah.
Okay, then we